Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 5 of Season 10 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Golden Corral 500 as we're getting set for 45 laps of racing at one of the craziest mile-and-a-half tracks we go to every season. But before we get started with everything, a quick little note. After this race, the top 30 in points after the race today will be locked in, excuse me, to Talladega on Wednesday, and then going forward, whoever is outside of the top 30 in points has to qualify their way into future races. So just a little reminder about that. But top 10 in the point standings, as you guys have seen the points recap, but the top 10 coming in, Carson Gum took the points lead over after Darlington this past Friday, with James Qualls 15 points back, Jay Jefferson in third, who's 20 points back, 30 points back is Daniel DK, 50 points behind is Matt McIntyre, 85 points behind is Rafael Leduc, 115 behind Melissa Alexander, 120 behind are both Michael Norman and Jonathan Zorline, and then 125 behind is Kyle Matthews. So now let's take a look at the top 10 in the starting lineup for today's race. Scott Groverston, the defending series champion, is on the pole for today. Starting next to him is Keith Miller Jr. Row 2, we have Michael Norman and Alex Hoover. Row 3, we have Henry Sanford, Seth Cole. Row 4, Alyssa Drayson and hometown boy Cole Deaver. And then row 5, Mitchell Collins and DJ Curtis. Let's get to Command 2 Fire Engines for the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 40 drivers now getting on the racetrack for the pace lap here. And also, reminder, this track will play host to the season finale at the end of the season. But yeah, this is the final week of the first of 2 Southeastern swings. Yeah, we got Atlanta today, Talladega on Wednesday, and then we conclude the first Southeastern swing at Bristol on Friday. But yeah, this race is going to be interesting to see how it all goes, considering we got pit frequency at 3x, so we're going to expect quite a few pit stops during the race today. But one thing to keep note of, we could see the big one here at Atlanta. And this track, most known for the insane wreck that took place 2 seasons ago with Dylan Jacobs and Carson Gum on the back straightaway, where they both hit the concrete opening on the backstretch so hard they flew back out into traffic. Pace car is in pit road, so ladies and gentlemen, it is time to boogity 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 go racing. Somehow, someway, Scott Groverston uses the outside lane to his advantage and kept the lead and gets to lead lap number 1. So that's 10 bonus points, 5 for getting the pole, 5 for leading a lap. But who knows if he can stay up here and try and pull off his first win of the season, because when you look at Scott Groverston currently, yeah, he got his first top 10 finish of the season at Darlington this past Friday, but prior to that, his season had been fairly so-and-so. And he desperately needed to get some good runs going starting at Darlington to maintain top 30, but he moved up to 13th in points, but he wants to move up even higher because Groverston wants to make history and be the first driver in the history of this series to win the championship back-to-back seasons. We've had one two-time champion, and that was Dylan Jacobs when he won it in Season 5 and Season 7. But never before has anybody won the championship 2 seasons in a row. Scott Groverson's looking to get on track to make that happen. Right now he leads, but Michael Norman right on his tail, and he's been on his tail since the start of the race. And we got a lot of drivers up here in the mix that are desperate. The one in particular who's probably the most desperate driver on the track is Mitchell Collins. So far this season, Mitchell Collins has not had anything go his way. Been involved in accidents, had poor finishes. In fact, he comes into this race 41st in points, 90 points, or actually no, make that 110 points behind 30th in the standings. So he definitely needs to have a really good showing here today, and hopes he can get into the top 30 in points to lock himself into Talladega this Wednesday. Right now running in second as Scott Groverston hangs on to the race lead just barely, though. It's not like he's pulling away to a big lead. It's just nobody's making a move on him right now. But Mitchell Collins being right there in second, he might be one to take that chance. And as I say that, to the inside comes the 22. Let's go to helicopter view and watch all this battling go on from above, as it's side by side between the 42 and the 22. Groverston's still led at the line, but Collins is going to have a big run when we come off of turn number 2. And, oh, I thought he had the 42 cleared right there, but not quite. He's trying to get clear of the 42 and get to the lead, and he finally does clear the 42 of Groverston. Or maybe not. Now he does. Mitchell Collins led the lap, but here comes Scott Groverston back to the inside to try and take the lead back. As Groverston seems to have a really good car that can handle any lane on the racetrack and still make it work. We saw him keep the lead and clear everybody on the top side, 3 wide in fact. Now he's going to try and make the inside lane work and see if he can't get back to the lead, as it's still side by side between the two, but Collins got a massive run off of turn 4 to keep the spot, but Groverston's still there. And now Groverston with a big run here off of turn 2. Let's go back to helicopter view, because this is fun. And also behind this, battle on for third. Michael Norman trying to get clear of Keith Miller Jr. And also at the same time, Norman trying to get to the inside of Mitchell Collins to get to second. Not a whole lot of shuffling going on up here at the front, but they are very, very close to one another. It's just a matter of which lane can get a bigger run. So this is almost like a restrictor plate race, except there is off-throttle time in the corners. As I'm watching, they go in at about 188, 190 miles an hour, slow down to about 165 in the center of the corner before they pick it back up. But it is still side by side between Collins and Groverston. Nobody's able to get an advantage over the other. They're running relatively even on the racetrack, but now Michael Norman trying to push that inside lane forward to get more spots, and now Groverston finally clears Mitchell Collins to get back up to the lead for himself. But Michael Norman, who's been basically right behind the 42 this whole race so far, not giving up easily as he's trying to get a run going to get to the lead for himself. But meanwhile, while this is happening, a couple of cars quietly peeking their way into the picture. Alyssa Drayson in this 87 in her farewell season wants to go out on a high note, although last Friday at Darlington did not end so well, as she fell from 15th in points to 22nd in points. So she's definitely looking to try and maintain her spot in the top 30 to get locked in for Talladega. And speaking of Mitchell Collins and his team, there is Dylan Young, his boss, owner, and teammate, from Young Motorsports, who Dylan Young so far this season, his season's been fairly so-and-so as he comes in 24th in points, and he's definitely one to impress to try and get himself back in the hunt to possibly get a championship. And then Rafael Leduc in the 16, 6th in the point standings in his retirement season. So far, solid start to the season, but he wants to win at least one more race before he calls it a career after we come back here in the finale. Excuse me, I had a hiccup. But yeah, it's double wide basically throughout much of the field. It's just nobody can really get an advantage going. And Scott Groverson has been dominating this race so far, though Mitchell Collins has led a couple of laps. But Groverson just out there in that clean air, and nobody's making a move on him, at least not yet, where they can't get a strong enough run going to make a move right now. But you do gotta wonder if that will change if we stay clean and green the whole way through and we get those green flag pit stops, what kind of adjustments drivers are going to be making to their cars as Mitchell Collins finally gets clear of Michael Norman, crossover move to the inside to try and get the lead again. I said it earlier, Mitchell Collins is in desperation mode as he is trying to get back into the top 30 in points so he can get locked into Talladega, otherwise he will have to qualify his way into Talladega. Collins to the inside, and looks like he will lead this lap when we get across the line here. But yeah, like I said, not a whole lot of shuffling going on up here at the front, but they are close racing together. It's just a matter of who's got the better car and what lane is better to run on. As we're going to go back to helicopter camera, and Scott Groverston trying to run the outside to get something going. And oh, we got a crash! Caleb Kilburn gets turned. Oh, it's the big one at Atlanta. Big multi-car accident. More cars getting involved. Patrick Smith, who had just qualified his way in, he's done for the day. Just as cars were coming into pit road as well. Looks like Riley Henry got a little piece of that, whatever had gone down. Jonathan Zorling, there was the first car I saw get turned, and now is Caleb Kilburn. His teammate, Jesse Turner, completely destroyed. Kyle Matthews is done for today, 10th in the point standings, and also 9th in the standings. Jonathan Zorling was in there. Ryan Acosta was involved. Oh, did Cole Deaver get a piece of it? Yeah, he did. I think Laney Marino got a little piece of it. Same with Daniel Bouchard. A lot of cars getting a piece of this. So the big one has struck here at Atlanta, and now everybody's coming into pit road. So we can definitely say we are going to expect one more pit stop before the end of the race. Mitchell Collins leads everybody into pit lane. So we're going to go to the pit lane camera to see who is going to come out ahead. Now, question is, would guys like Dylan Young be able to cycle around, or are they caught a lap down? Looking at scoring, and no, they're still, at least at the moment, on the lead lap. But I'm going to watch and see who's going to come out ahead out of these guys out of pit road here. And it looks like everybody going 4 tires and fuel as well as adjustments if necessary. I see Mitchell Collins coming out. Now it's Groverston, so it's going to be Collins, Groverston, Norman, Drayson, and Jordan Forbes. But will that stay as the top 5? I don't think so, because there's the 3 that pitted right as that caution came out. So I believe James Qualls is going to be the race leader, or they're going to be tail end of the longest line. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at the replay to find out what brought the caution out for the first time today here at Atlanta. So here's a look at what happened. So this is right around the top 15 or so, top 10 even. And it looks like as Dylan Young signals for cars to go into pit road, a lot of reactions of cars slowing down to give room, and everybody scrambles. Caleb Kilburn runs Jesse Turner out of room because he was worried about what was going to happen. Both of them teammates going into the outside wall. And then, oh, there was another wreck that happened before that involving Deaver, Henry, Zorleen, and others. We're going to take a look at that in just a moment, but there you see Patrick Smith, big hit into the rear end of Daniel Bichard's machine, destroying his car, and then a big hit from Kyle Matthews getting involved. And then there you see Laney Marino tapping the 09, sending him around into Jay Jefferson right there as they go around. I don't know how Seth Cole managed to get through. We might have to go to an onboard shot with him. But let's see how this second portion of the crash happens. Oh, it's going to be Riley Henry coming up into Cole Deaver, turning him around, and then Zorleen up into Riley and Ryan Acosta, sending them into the outside wall. At least 10 to 11 cars involved in some capacity in this whole mess. And right there, again, there was that big hit from the 61. As I'm watching out for Seth Cole to see how he manages to get through all this. And, well, he does tap the 61 a little bit, but no damage to the 25. So, tiny piece of it for the 25 car. But yeah, and there you see Dylan Young, James Qualls, and Chris Dollarton slowing down to come into pit road. So, they caught a lucky break. A caution comes out, and they're going to cycle around to the front of the field as a result of all that. So, let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Atlanta. So as a result of that first caution, we have 3 cars out of the race, or actually 4 cars out of the race. Ryan Acosta, Jonathan Zorleen, Patrick Smith, and Kyle Matthews, so they will not be getting points as a result of today's events. But after everything that taken place, the complexion of the race has changed drastically as the top 3 pitted as the caution came out, and it helped to make the field shuffle up in a big way. James Qualls currently leads here at Atlanta. Second is Dylan Young. Third is Chris Dollarton. Fourth, Mitchell Collins. Fifth, Scott Groverston. Sixth is Michael Norman. Seventh, Alyssa Drayson. Eighth, Jordan Forbes. Ninth, Keith Miller Jr. 10th, Alex Hoover. Rest of the top 20 in 11th is Daniel Voiles. 12th, Dylan Jacobs. 13th, Henry Sanford. 14th, Rafael Leduc. 15th is the points leader, Carson Gumbs. 16th, Jay Jefferson. 17th, Matt McIntyre. 18th, Joey Parkhill. 19th, Dylan Poteet. 20th, William Brock. And then the rest of the field that's on track, we have Cody Lamas, Lisa Nelson, Melissa Alexander, Quentin Moore, Zachary Fitzwater, Jessica Sheldon, Daniel DK, Charles Belding, DJ Curtis, Laney Marino, Seth Cole, Daniel Bichard, Riley Henry, Cole Deaver, Caleb Kilburn, and Jesse Turner. Green flag back out, 24 laps to go here at Atlanta. And James Qualls looking to pounce on the opportunity to go for a win. Meanwhile, Scott Groverston goes past with ease up to 4th over Mitchell Collins. And now look at Chris Dollarton come up through as he's trying to make a move to get to 2nd over Dylan Young. And actually, Dollarton, just 2 cars behind him, is his teammate Michael Norman in the 21. Both of the Michael Norman Motorsports cars up here in the top 5, with Dollarton in 3rd, Norman currently 5th, but trying to get up to 4th, making the move past Scott Groverston, as Dollarton trying to get around Dylan Young to get to 2nd. And now they have caught James Qualls, as Qualls is now going to have drivers breathing down his neck in a big way. As I said, Qualls, apart from a less than stellar finish at Darlington, he started off this season strong. 3 straight top 10 finishes in the first 3 races of the season. Even though you could argue he probably should have won back at Rockingham had it not been for an incident with Cole Deaver, but he still came through and got a top 10 out of all that chaos. And now it's side by side between Qualls and Dollarton. Close at the line, but I think Qualls just barely got it. But now Dollarton with the run to the inside with that push from Scott Groverston to try and get the lead. And Groverston wants to get back up to the front for himself. And Mitchell Collins, who had led at the caution, he's slipping back. He's lost several spots on the racetrack and has now fallen back to 10th on the racetrack. But James Qualls, he seems to now have a very strong car as he's holding on to the race lead with desperation. But remember, if we stay clean and green the rest of the way, we are, well, either or, we are guaranteed to have one more pit stop before the end of the race. So the money stop has yet to occur, as now Chris Dollarton has the run to the inside with that big push from Groverston. Will Dollarton lead at the line now? Yes, he will. 5 bonus points towards the 83 car. And keep in mind, this is only his 3rd start this season. Yeah, he's right there at the 30th spot in the standings. He came in 20 points ahead of 31st in points, which was Lisa Nelson coming in. But Lisa Nelson actually qualified her way into the race, and let's see where she is on the racetrack. Last time scored 23rd, but I think she's moved up a few spots since. Let's see here at the line. She is 22nd, so I guess not by much. Mitchell Collins continues to slip back in the field. Now he's outside the top 10. Meanwhile, James Qualls took the lead on that previous lap on the outside lane. He's trying to do what Groverston did earlier and use the outside to his advantage. So both lanes are even in the center of the corner, but off of corner exit, depending on how good you are off of either lane. The top side seems to be getting the bigger run, especially off of turn 4, but let's watch here off of turn 2. It's the bottom lane that gets a pretty sizable run, even though the outside does carry a tad more speed off of 2, but off of 4, you're going to see it here in just a moment that outside lane does get a big run. Right there. But it's still side by side between the 83 and the 70, and these two are not letting each other out of their sights. Next time by, it'll be 15 laps to go, so the laps are winding down here in the Golden Corral 500. As drivers are just trying to figure out how to get around one another to get to the race lead or in a higher spot on the track. As you just listen to those engines purr like kittens. Dollarton, he's still trying to find a way to get clear of the 70. Let's actually go to helicopter camera. I thought if he had moved up in front of the 70, he could have cleared him, but the 70, look at that run he got off of 2. So Qualls has a very, very strong race car. It's just only now after that caution had come out that he's showing it now. But Dollarton led yet again, but Qualls is not giving up easily. He is still right there in the mix of everything. And Scott Groverston, he's trying to figure out what is he gonna have to do to try and make a move and get back to the front where he was at the beginning of the race. But we are getting closer and closer to the second round of pit stops. And those are going to be the money stops. And now Groverston, is he going to try and make it 3 wide for the lead? Oh, he's trying. It's 3 wide. Groverston, Dollarton, and Qualls. Let's watch this from the helicopter camera and see how it all turns out. Qualls still getting the big run off the top side, off of turn 2. And whoa, a little bit of contact between teammates Dollarton and Norman. But it's still 3 wide, and Groverston's got a big run. Oh man, imagine if this was the finish. Wow, that would have been spectacular, but Qualls hanging on just barely right now in the top spot, and yet he's up there by himself at the very top of the racetrack, and he's still running stronger than a lot of cars on the bottom. Oh, I thought Qualls was going to be able to clear Dollarton right there, but Dollarton's still not giving up easily as well. But Dollarton's still stuck in the middle of all this, but Qualls actually does clear Dollarton, moving Dollarton to the outside lane. And now it's side by side between the 2 best cars on the racetrack right now, Groverston and Qualls. But as I said, we are getting even closer to potential green flag pit stops. Whoa, William Brock! Oh, what a save by Michael Norman. I thought Norman was about to get turned for sure as William Brock slid up the racetrack. Wowzers. Couple of cars in the pit road already. Jay Jefferson, who was on the lead lap, he's now in the pit road, and now that side-by-side battle between Qualls and Groverston has ended, as now Qualls cuts down in front of the 42. Oh, there goes William Brock. Oh, another big crash. Zachary Fitzwater again running in the bad luck. Mitchell Collins involved. Gets hit again by DJ Curtis. Seth Cole. Oh, we got another crash. Oh, my goodness. Matt McIntyre was in it. Melissa Alexander involved. Oh, and she gets hit twice. More contact. Daniel Bouchard into Daniel Voiles. Again, just as cars come into pit road, we get another caution. Man, Qualls ought to thank the good luck fairy. Same with Dollarton, and actually Dollarton is going to get out in front of Qualls. Dylan Young was also in the pit road after all of this. Man, we got a lot more cars that are totaled on the racetrack. And now here comes the rest of the field, but who knows who's going to be the race leader now after all this insanity has just occurred. As, whoa, Cole Deaver, what are you doing? But let's go ahead and take a look and see what brought the caution out for the second time today here at Atlanta. So again, another case of drivers reacting to cars up ahead, pulling down the racetrack to come into pit road. James Qualls is the first one to come in out of this group of cars, and then William Brock, combination of slowing down, getting into the back of Joey Parkhill, and then Matt McIntyre getting into the 29, sends the 29 up the racetrack, and then Zachary Fitzwater gets into Matt McIntyre and Daniel Voiles, and they all get collected into this insanity as they slide up the racetrack. But I'm just waiting to see how all the other chaos is going to ensue, as William Brock slowing down to avoid, and then right there Mitchell Collins gets into his teammate Fitzwater and then just spins in front of everyone on the bottom of the racetrack. DJ Curtis going to come flying in, and he's going to nail Mitchell Collins right there in that right front fender. And then you're going to see more chaos is right there. Seth Cole, he's slowing down to try and get into pit road, although Dylan Young slows down even more. And then there's going to be contact as Seth, he's actually picking up a little bit of speed, runs into the back of Dylan Young's car, and that's going to send the 25 for a slide up the racetrack. And then we're going to see even more chaos take place here momentarily as he slides up towards the outside wall. But then I'm just waiting to see how all this gets triggered. Oh, I got a feeling it's right there. Melissa Alexander gets into Quinton Moore as she tries to slide back onto the racetrack, and then Matt McIntyre gonna come flying in, slam the 27. The 78 hit the inside wall pretty hard. And then there's Daniel Voiles getting hit. DJ Curtis gets hit yet again. Bigger wreck than we had with that first caution. And a lot of cars totaled. And we're going to have a lot more cars out of the race after all of this. But only question is, who is going to be the race leader now? Let's take you to the restart here at Atlanta. Well, after that second caution, a lot more cars are out of the race, and they include DJ Curtis, Mitchell Collins, Matt McIntyre, Daniel Bouchard, Daniel Voiles, William Brock, Caleb Kilburn, and now, again, it's like ever since winning the Daytona 500, Zachary Fitzwater has been cursed, as he's going to get bottom 5 once again. I don't even think he's had a finish below... Or actually, well, I'm trying to think. I believe Fitzwater's finished bottom 5 in every race since Daytona except for one. which is really, really insane. So it's a tough start to the season. After starting off winning the biggest race of all, it's turned to the lowest of lows for Zachary Fitzwater. But quick run through of the field as it stands, as we are going to be 5 laps to go when we get back green. Chris Dollarton is the leader. Second is James Qualls. Third, Dylan Young. Fourth, Keith Miller Jr. Fifth, Carson Gumbs. Sixth is Joey Parkhill. 7th, Scott Groverston. 8th, Michael Norman. 9th, Jessica Shelton. 10th, Cole Deaver. And that's all we're going to be able to run down as we get ready to go back green. And tail end of the lead lap is Jay Jefferson. And then you got the lap car of Jesse Turner in between second and third. So it's going to be an interesting restart. If everybody can get past the 17, they should be okay. But we're back underway, and Jay Jefferson's even off the pace a little bit, but the top 3 are now well ahead of everybody else with less than 5 to go. So it's going to be between Dollarton, Qualls, and D. Young to pull it off. Qualls going to try to go to the inside as he's getting a big draft push from Dylan Young, but look at Dollarton hanging on strong on the outside lane, but Qualls has the run. 4 laps to go now here at Atlanta. Side by side between Dollarton and Qualls yet again. Dylan Young, could he maybe snooker away a win if he can try and make a move before the end of the race? They're well ahead of 4th place being held by Scott Groverston currently, and now Qualls, massive run off of 2, going into 3. Can he clear Dollarton off of 4 and get the lead for himself? Barely clears Dollarton, as it's now 3 laps to go here at Atlanta. And now Dylan Young wants to play rough as well, as he's trying to get to second. Side by side for that second position between Dylan Young and Chris Dollarton. All 3 of these drivers with something to prove. 2 Dodges, 1 Ford up here in this top 3 battle, but Qualls well ahead of the top of the 2 behind him with 2 laps to go. Can he hold them off, though? Can he hold off the rest of the top 3 in hopes of getting his first win in a long, long time? As I said, he struggled all of Season 9, has started off this season really well, but he wants to finally put an end to a long winless streak. He's going to have a little over a lap left to get it done, as we're coming to the white flag. White flag is out here at Atlanta, and Qualls holds on to a slim lead over Chris Dollarton. Does Dollarton have anything left for the 70 car? Dylan Young, who's up here in the mix, does he have anything for the top 2? Top 2 are nose to tail. Here comes Dollarton with a run to the inside. Can Qualls hold him off on the top? It's going to be side by side when we come to the line. It's going to be a photo finish, I feel like. Here we go. Checkered flag waving. It's going to be close. Holy cow, that was a close one. But James Qualls, by 1/100th of a second, is going to win the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Classic Atlanta finish, side by side. Close at the line. Qualls using his talents on the top side of the track and manages to hold off Chris Dollarton to get his first win of the season and his first win in a long, long time. Long overdue for that young man, as James Qualls gets his first win of Season 10. But let's look at the rest of the results. Man, I thought Dollarton was going to have a shot at the end, but again, just that outside lane, getting the run off of the corners is what cost him. But still, Dollarton with a great finish in the second spot. That will surely keep him locked in going forward for a couple of races, as he'll be locked into Talladega this Wednesday. Dylan Young, great performance, finishing with a strong 3rd place run, and that is actually his first top 5, top 10 finish of the season. So great points day for the 2 team. Jessica Shelton, solid performance in the 4th position as she's slowly inching her way into the championship battle. And then Dylan Jacobs, coming back from a less than stellar run at Darlington to get a 5th place run here today. Scott Groverston continuing a little bit of momentum, was one of the dominant cars of the day, but finishes in a strong 6th place. Cody Lamas, great run in the 7th spot. That could put him in the top 30 in points, or at the very least, it'll put him close. Meanwhile, Alyssa Drayson, solid performance in the 8th spot. Daniel DK continuing a really good start to the season, finishing 9th. And then Charles Belding rounds out the top 10 with a great run in 10th. Then there is your top 20. And the rest of the cars that finished on the lead lap, as well as the lap down machines and the retired cars. And the bottom 5 for this week, yet again, Zachary Fitzwater, Ryan Acosta, Jonathan Zorline, Patrick Smith, and Kyle Matthews. So that does it for our coverage here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Thank you for watching, as next time we head to the big beast, we head to Talladega on Wednesday. But until then, here's James Qualls' victory burnout and the point standings heading into Talladega. And this is Levi McIntyre signing off.